Hey everyone, this is EasyEnglishBook.club. My name's Anastasia and we're here to read Dracula in Easy English. So the text we're going to be reading today is not the original text that Bram Stoker wrote. It is an Easy English version. I changed the words and grammar to make it easier to understand, but I did not make it shorter and I did not change the ideas of Bram Stoker. So I hope you can enjoy this version of Dracula and use it to learn English or just enjoy an easier text. So Dracula in Easy English, Chapter 1, Part 1. Jonathan Harker's diary, and a diary is a sort of a journal. As we read, I'm going to be helping you with some difficult words that we see. Okay, so the 3rd of May, Bistritz. Left Munich at 8:35 p.m. on the 1st of May, arriving at Vienna early next morning. The train was scheduled to arrive at 6:46, but it was an hour late. Budapest seems a wonderful place, judging from the little which I saw of it from the train and my short walk through the streets. I was afraid to go very far from the station because we had arrived late and planned to start as near the correct time as possible. I had a feeling that we were leaving the west and entering the east. We crossed the most western of beautiful bridges over the Danube, which is a very wide and deep river, and came to a place governed by Turkish traditions. We left in pretty good time and came to Klausenberg after dark. Here I stopped for the night at the Hotel Royal. I had for dinner, or rather supper, a chicken cooked with red pepper, which was very good, but I really wanted to drink after eating it. Note, get recipe for Mina. I asked the waiter, and he said it was called paprika handel, and that because it was a national dish, it would be easy for me to order it anywhere along the Carpathians. My knowledge of basic German was so very useful here. When still in London, I had visited the British Museum in my free time and looked for information about Transylvania among the books and maps in the library, because I had realized that some knowledge of the country would be useful in doing business with a nobleman of that country. Okay, so nobleman is an interesting word. A nobleman is a man from a family of high social rank, a member of the nobility. I found that the district he named is in the extreme east of the country, just on the borders of 3 states, and a border is the line that divides 2 countries, or 3 in this case. Just on the borders of 3 states, Transylvania, Moldavia, and Bukovina, in the middle of the Carpathian Mountains, one of the wildest and least known parts of Europe. I was not able to find on any map the exact location of the Castle Dracula, because there are no maps of this country that could compare with our own Ordnance Survey maps. And an Ordnance Survey map is a map which shows all the roads, paths, hills, etc. of an area in detail. But I found that Bistritz, the post town named by Count Dracula, is a rather well-known place. I shall enter here some of my notes, as they may refresh my memory when I tell Mina about my travels. In the population of Transylvania, there are 4 distinct nationalities: Saxons in the south, and mixed with them the Wallachs, who are the descendants of the Dacians, Magyars in the west, and Zekles in the east and north. Descendants, so two times this word, is going to be on this page. So a descendant is someone who is related to a person who lived a long time ago, or to a family, a group of people that existed in the past. So Wallachs are the descendants of the Dacians, Magyars in the west, and Zekles in the east and north. I am now traveling among the Zekles, who say they are descendants of Attila and the Huns. And here's a picture of King Attila as the first Hungarian king. This may be true because when the Magyars conquered the country in the 11th century, and to conquer is to get control of a country by fighting. So when they conquered the country, they found the Huns settled in it. I read that every known superstition is a belief that some objects or actions are lucky or unlucky, or that they cause events to happen based on old ideas of magic. So I read that every known superstition in the world is gathered into the horseshoe of the Carpathians. So the Carpathian mountains look like a horseshoe, as if it were the center of some sort of imaginative whirlpool. And a whirlpool is a powerful current of water that spins around and can pull things down into it. If so, my stay may be very interesting. I must ask the Count all about them, meaning those superstitions. I did not sleep well, though my bed was comfortable enough, because I had all sorts of strange dreams. There was a dog howling, meaning making a long, loud sound. There was a dog howling all night under my window, and maybe my strange dream was the result of it, or maybe Paprika was to blame, because I had to drink up all the water in my carafe. It's a glass container with a wide neck, and was still thirsty. I fell asleep only when it was almost morning, and was wakened by the continuous knocking at my door. So I guess I must have been sleeping soundly then. To sleep soundly means to sleep very well, not to be disturbed by any sounds or anything really, to have a very good night's sleep. I had for breakfast more paprika and a sort of porridge of maize flour, which they said was Mama Liga, and eggplant stuffed with meat, a very excellent dish which they call impletata. Get the recipe for this also. I had to eat my breakfast in a hurry, because the train was scheduled for a little before 8, but after rushing to the station at 7:30, so he came very, very fast, he rushed, I had to sit in the carriage for more than an hour before we began to move. It seems to me that the further east you go, the more unpunctual are the trains. What ought they to be in China? All day long we were moving slowly through a country which was full of beauty of every kind. Sometimes we saw little towns or castles on the top of steep hills, such as we see in old church prayer books. Steep, a road or hill that is steep, slopes at a high angle, like so. At every station there were groups of people, sometimes crowds, it means a lot of people, and in all sorts of clothes. Some of them were just like the peasants, and peasants are poor farmers at home, or those I saw coming through France and Germany, with short jackets and round hats and homemade trousers. But others were very unusual. The women looked pretty, except when you got near them, their waists were not very slender. They had all full white sleeves of some kind or other, and most of them had big belts with a lot of strips of something flying around them, like the dresses in a ballet. But of course there were petticoats under them. And a petticoat is like an underdress or an underskirt, something that you wear under your normal dress or skirt. The strangest figures we saw were the Slovaks, who were wilder than the rest, with their big cowboy hats, great baggy dirty white trousers, white linen shirts, and huge heavy leather belts, nearly a foot wide, all decorated with brass nails. They wore high boots with their trousers tucked into them, and had long black hair and heavy black mustaches. And a mustache is hair that grows on a man's upper lip. They are very picturesque, interesting in an old-fashioned way. So they are very picturesque, but do not look attractive. On the stage, they could play an old Oriental band of bandits. An Oriental means relating to or from the eastern part of the world, especially China and Japan. So connected to the east. They could play an old Oriental band of bandits. They are, however, I am told, very harmless and are naturally not very self-confident. It was getting dark when we got to Bistritz, which is a very interesting old place, being practically on the border, because the Borgo Pass leads from it into Bukovina. It has had a very stormy existence, and I hope you remember the word border, the line between two states. And you can certainly see marks of it. 50 years ago, a series of great fires took place, which made a lot of trouble 5 times. At the very beginning of the 17th century, it was surrounded and captured for 3 weeks and lost 13,000 people who died because of war, hunger, and illnesses. Count Dracula had told me to go to the Golden Crown Hotel, which I found, to my great delight, to be very old-fashioned, because of course I wanted to see all I could of the traditions of the country. They expected me there, because when I got near the door, I met a happy-looking elderly woman in the usual peasant dress. When I came close, she bowed and said, "The Herr Englishman?" "Yes," I said, "Jonathan Harker." She smiled and gave some message to an elderly man in white shirt sleeves. So, in shirt sleeves means wearing a shirt without a jacket on top of it. So, she gave some message to an elderly man in white shirt sleeves who had followed her to the door. He went, but immediately returned with a letter. "My friend, welcome to the Carpathians. I am waiting for you. Sleep well tonight. At 3 tomorrow, the coach will start for Bukovina. A place in it is kept for you. At the Borgo Pass, my carriage will wait for you and will bring you to me. I hope that your journey from London has been a happy one, and that you will enjoy your stay in my beautiful land. Your friend, Dracula. This is the end of the first part of the first chapter. So if you would like to do some exercises connected with this part, you can go to easyenglishbook.club. There is a tense review exercise based on the text that we just read, so come check it out. A little gap fill. And if you want to just go ahead and listen to chapter 1 part 2, then do so. Join us the next time. All right, thank you very much for being with me, and bye-bye.